Hi, welcome to Chico Comics page. This is Michael Nunneley, and today we're going to be covering IDW Publishing's Star Trek Discovery Captain Saru one-shot. It's part of IDW's whole 2020 thing. Writers on this title are Kirsten Beyer and Mike Johnson. The art by Angel Hernandez. The colors by J.L. Rio and Valentina Pinto, and the letters by Christa Miesner. This book is going to be out on the 13th. That's this Wednesday. It's going to be for $7.99, and yeah, let's go ahead and get into it. Right off, the cover looks great. Excellent likenesses, just like always. IDW always brings it with the art, especially with their Star Trek books. The par of excellence there is really high. I don't know, man. They're able to get artists that are so talented that the art doesn't just kind of look like the characters. It looks just like the characters, and that's hard to do, especially with characters like Saru, where there's so much detail in his face involved. But hey, Angel Hernandez really knocked it out of the park with this. His layouts were awesome. There wasn't a single panel where there was just empty space or some generic coloring behind them talking. The guy used up the whole space, the whole panel. The architecture that was drawn, the background, the layout itself. The character positionings, the shot angles. I mean, a perfect layout. I really loved it, and again, the likenesses were good. But I gotta say, this was really added to a lot by the colors of Rio and Pinto. They added a certain kind of I don't know. There was scenes where it was almost gritty. There were other scenes where it was very detailed, but the whole thing, all the way across, had a lot of emotion in it, and I think that was in great part due to their coloring. Um, it was just a great presentation all the way around. As far as the story itself goes, man, when IDW makes the best Star Trek comics I have ever read. And I've read them from Marvel, I've read them from DC, I've read them from Malibu, you name it. I've been reading Star Trek comics a while, and no one does it better than IDW. These guys really rock the Star Trek department. And when it comes to world class, master class authors in Star Trek, you look no further than the authors of this book, Kirsten Beyer and Mike Johnson. Um, Kirsten Beyer is a legend. Uh, this woman has been writing books in Star Trek since I was a boy. Back when she was doing those, I don't know how long the readers have been reading Star Trek books or what have you, but they used to do these little Star Trek pocket novels. And Kirsten did some of my favorite original series stories are from Kirsten's book, not the series. She does some really great stuff. I've been a fan of hers for as long as I can remember. And Mike Johnson, I've given him the nickname Trekmaster. Even when I post him online, I usually call him that, Mike Trekmaster Johnson. That man is not only very talented, but he actually holds the record for having written the most Star Trek books out of anyone. Not books, but comics out of anyone. No one has written more Star Trek comics than Mike Trekmaster Johnson. And with these two working together, it's it is it is amazing to behold. It is like getting to watch two gods of the industry working together on one project. Really fun. I mean, just seeing their names on the titles, the hairs on the back of my neck stood up. I couldn't wait to get into this, and I was not let down at all by the story. Their dialogue was, I mean, perfect, spot on. It was almost like when Saru was talking, you could you could hear Doug Jones's voice. When Michael Burnham was talking, you could actually hear even the inflections in Soneqa's voice. It just amazing, amazing, perfect dialogue, perfect pacing. This was just like watching an episode of Disco, but with the added benefit of the things that come in comics, like an internal narrative from the characters, and in the overall story, they manage. I don't want to give too much away because I want you to get into this and see it for yourself. But Star Trek is known for their allegorical and metaphorical stories. In fact, Roddenberry specifically almost didn't want any conflict at all in his Star Trek stories. He wanted this kind of utopia idea added, um, and so uh, consequently, most of Roddenberry's stories, and you'll see it a lot in the first season of the original series, tend to be very cerebral. You know what I mean? They're more for the intellectual viewer. You know, if you're looking for an action story, this is not the place for you. Um, but as the years went on, this no conflict rule kind of tended to dissipate a little bit, and things have gotten a little bit more dramatic. But in that same vein of that allegorical story, that really cerebral type of message going to you in the story, was done here perfectly, and I think that's because of the mastercraft hands of Beyer and Johnson. They really know how to deliver it. I cannot possibly recommend this book to you enough. Um, I say this a lot about IDW's Star Trek books, and well, that's because they're all. I rarely come across one of their Star Trek books that isn't awesome, but especially when you get a group of creators together, like is on Star Trek Discovery Captain Saru, you know it's going to be a dream come true, and it is. Great art, great storytelling, um, great story in general. It even leaves you thinking a bit. There's there's a particular part that actually had me laughing out loud for a minute. This book has got a little bit of everything in it. I really think you will enjoy this. I'm giving this a 5 out of 5. Art, story, experience, all the way across the board. Uh, I think you need to pick this up on Wednesday. Thank you for listening. My name is Michael Nunneley. This is the Chico Comics page, and Kapla.